Alright, we are back with some more Rome 2, 3v3 on the beautiful city of Athens. And sadly, Athens has lost their home and they need to retake it. But with this here, the reason I called this a part 2 the reason I called this a part 2 is last week we did have a bit of an Ankara fight, 3v3, with the same defenders here. They're Seems like they work as a team, and honestly, in my opinion, I think they're very good players, so I wanted to show off both matches that we had with them. Uh, Whenever I do play randoms and not on in a stream, I do always like to attack. I prefer attacking, so we are attacking once again. Though sadly, this time we do not have RD. But let us get into the army comps. I have Carthage here. It's brought to you by me with my favorite Carthage build, which is a noble cavalry general, 1 fixed ballista, 2 mercenary Iberian cav for some fast melee cav with some pretty good stats, 3 mercenary Cretan archers, 1 African pikeman, 4 Libyan infantry, 3 mercenary Iberian swordsmen, 3 mercenary Italian swordsmen, and 2 mercenary Scutari. Next to me, I have Propane here, bringing us Athens, hoping to retake their home. They have a Nepeus Lancer General, a fixed ballista as well, 3 mercenary Cretan archers, 1 hoplite, 3 mercenary Thracian warriors, 3 thorax hoplite, 4 thorax swords, and 3 Thraeos swords. And to be honest, probably the linchpin of this force is Arverni. He is attacking by himself, so he's going to... Honestly, his 1v1 is going to be very important to the outcome of the game if we do play passively and do play, let's just say, more conservatively, which probably is the better idea with our factions. Is actually a very good idea with our factions here, but he is brought to us by Chaza Thornton72, someone who was picked up into this game. Oathsworn General, 1 fixed ballista, 1 heavy horse, 4 Gallic hunters, 5 Celtic warriors, 6 chosen swordsmen, and 2 levy freemen. On the defense here, we have Egypt as Kron 560, Aravachi as ADM, and Nabatea as El Nino Max. With that, let's get this party started.
Stop us, men! Once their defenses have fallen and their warriors put to the sword, you may claim what you will as your choice of spoil.
Well, sadly, it cut off, but he is talking about looting this beautiful place. And with no artillery being positioned over here, we can move those towers away from our ballistas and get ready to start firing. I did mention a little bit on the intro that basically, if we do play a more conservative game, we do heavily rely on the Arverni player to win, and they are random. I did give them 4 towers, but to be honest, with a little bit of concern and the way let's just say I hate playing a little more conservatively, so I will be heavily aggressive in this fight. And we shall see if that aggression pays off or dooms our assault. Italian swordsman taking the gate, because I think taking the gate is very important in this Athens hold. Ooh. We do have a Balearic Slinger here. Do have fire arrows. I'm firing regular shot. Propane is firing fire shot. Let us see if we can take that down. Ooh. More boys back there, which are Balearic Slingers as well. Tell because it's the same little boys over there. Oh no. Well, see, same little boys. But with that destroyed, that is, do we get anything else other than the full unit of Balearics? I mean, anything more is just the icing on the cake. But yeah, that is a big blow for Aravaki. They've lost a Balearic Slinger. They've got a regular Slinger there for Nabatea. Some Desert Levy, some Nabatean Swords, some more Desert Levy. Italians trying to hit that gate. And one more hit, or two. Two more hits. Now one gate has been broken. Tortoise is moving up here, including two Libyans on the inside, because as I said, I'm going to be making a pretty aggressive push. The Italians pushing over there in case I decide to do something with them. But they did sally out with an Iberian sword. I know it's probably not the best to have the Italian there, but I need to get the battering ram out of the way. You saw what happened when it was in place last time, when I didn't have a choice, so I am willing to take the damage from the javelins, take the damage from the Iberians to just push that battering ram off to the side. And with that done, I can now move in and actually target the Iberians. Hopefully absorb some ammo. And just allow the tortoises to move along the side. We got a thorax hoplite already here, getting ready to move in. Iberian spearman and Nabatean swordsman. Let's see what we got over here. Over here we have an Egypt build that is all Thureos. I will say this, I wish... Yeah, he's already fucked up. Arverni is already screwed up. He's making a bit of a tower wall here. He needs, with what you're seeing here, you need to be very aggressive with your units. You need to get probably like 1 or 2 units on those towers. Get ready to start pushing in. And probably not separate your assault. Probably just overwhelming force. Try to get a wide area onto here. He's already destroying that, but like onto there. Onto, you can't really get onto that side, sadly. But onto this spot here, and just start funneling in, and just smashing into this position. We'll see, though, how it rolls. Back onto this side. Thorax are breaking. Basically this whole area here. Slingers pulling back. Got a Scutari here. Italians are pushing on that point. Yeah, we're already starting to lose Levy Freeman. I mean, good play. Letting the Carians kill the Levy Freeman. Just a waste of ammo to target them. They're wasting ammo against those Celtics because they're not getting the best volley. Yeah, and see, they still have that breach, so if they want to properly assault, they need a tower to hit there, to hit here, and to hit here. Yeah. Over here, no assault yet, as the last of the gates are going down. Scutari going in. Artillery fire hidden in as well. And with that one down, this one's coming in. And I'm going to have 2 Libyans and a Scutari go in initially. We do have an Nabatean unit coming around. Basically, they have left this gate open for a wall of men. As such, we need to take this gate. I mean, those Desert Levy are going to drop real fast. Iberian swordsmen are getting targeted. They should be the second line, to be perfectly honest, because they have more than normal javelins. Thorax Hoplite is getting beat up. That hit the unit into nothing. But the assault begins here, including an Iberian swordsman getting Thorax there. With those gaps, I'm going to try to get an Iberian swordsman or an Iberian cavalry in. Doesn't really work, though they do run through it pretty well. Yeah, and it's going to get stuck right there. Yeah. Not very pleasant. But yeah, already down to 44. They're getting hit by the Balearic. And Iberians right, or Iberian cavalry right into the Balearics. That's going to be that Iberian cavalry done. Sadly, did not work out, but it did allow these fronts are now shattering. This one going through that gap on the side, along with that what do you call it? That Libyan infantry, getting into slingers. Masses Scutari are getting hit. Let's see how this side's going. They've already pulled back fully from that side. It looks like they're going to go for a push here. But the issue is they only have two breach points. They didn't put any towers. Like if they had a tower here or here, honestly, let these fade. What I would do with this assault, probably have two towers, one going onto this side, one going onto this side, once I start pressing a little further. Again, more wasted ammo getting into those Levy Freemen. But if you're going to pull back from that assault, there's no reason to open them up. Cavalry is, Iberian cavalry here is up to 81. And another charge. So they got that frenzy charge off at the last second. That's going to be them out of the fight, but they are going to do some more damage to those Balearics, knocking them down to about half. And destroying another unit of slingers. And over here, the front lines have mostly crumbled for Aravaki and Nabatea, as you can see. A lot of Iberian swordsmen, a lot of Iberian swords, Nabatean swordsmen breaking. Scutari not looking the healthiest. This is where the mercenary Iberian swords are just going to get right into the flank of those Scutari. Over here, I know this Iberian's not going to do very well. Yep, targeting over here as well. But pressing hard with the Carthage assault. Trying to break through this gap here, and so I can collapse this way and break Athens out, allowing Athens to have a little more strength. Threo spears getting through the flank. Charging towards those Balearics. Do have an armored desert hoplite over there. Don't know if he noticed, but yeah, good job for Propane getting into those Balearic slingers. Going to silence them permanently. Over here, these mercenary Scutari 181, they're going to end up falling. Do like how they're not really fighting there. But tried the Italian swordsman here, tried to get to that Balearic slinger. Got chased away, but they did get damaged a bit by the Cretans. How's the artillery doing? 74 here. 107 there. And yeah, as you can see, pushing in hard on this side, and as you can see, it is completely open now. Pushing in, stopping reinforcements, allowing Athens to take control of their side. Over here, we already have the Carrying Axeman general. They got 101 kills. Worst general choice, in my opinion. Carrying Axemen, I will say this, are not a bad unit. They're actually very good, in my opinion. Thraeus-based unit for cheap, and they have axes, which means as a flanking unit, they actually can do pretty decent damage. Let's take a look. Weapon damage 26, but 10 of it being armor piercing. Can act as a very good flanking unit when they're out of ammo, like they're about to do right here. And just crumple them. But as a general, you want your general to be a little more sustainable. I know people say, hey, I'm not going to use my general anyways. Let me Here's the cavalry coming in. Let me do a cheap general choice. But the issue with that is it does end up being a bit of a detriment to your army in the end. Noble cavalry moving on into those Balearics. Going to finish these guys off. And there is a Desert Heavy Lancer coming in. And there is more units coming in to support. Over here, my lines are pretty damaged. Yep, more artillery strikes. Getting into Balearics, trying to silence them. Mercenary Italians coming around. Noble Horse. Our Hippeus Lancers getting ready to come in, rotating around. That Guerrilla Warrior trying to stop us. But thinned up right into those Slingers. Now, to be fair, the unit is already half strength. And the Noble Cavalry probably will not be getting out of this fight. But it is to silence all this ranged here. Very similar, more cavalry coming in. Hippeus Lancers trying to charge. Smashing into those lines. And Balearics dropping real hard here. Archers moving up along with the pikemen. Though that Desert Heavy Lancer, great shock cavalry, by the way. Very cost effective in my opinion. Yeah, Thracians breaking through the Scutari. Mass archer fire right into those Balearics. Going to silence them permanently. And overall, not the greatest amount of kills for the cavalry, but they're over 100, and they are all primarily on range, which are great high-value targets. As you can see here, Averni is breaking through, carrying Axemen, and this is where you need the two towers. Once you get to this portion, you hit here, you force them to basically spread out their assaults where they don't have a lot of good infantry. Force them to use ammo, force them to use men. You have two Chosens here that could have gone onto that assault and kept a Chosen over here, as well as, if need be, heavy horse along this line and just smashing right into them. But over here, the Nabatean heavy archers are taking damage as well on their fight. Pikes here. Setting up. Not getting into the infantry engagement. Allowing the infantry to continue to push. So not to pike stack. Heavy Lancer going down. 125 kills. Great job there. That's going to be their end. And basically, it's going to be Athens' push from here. They still got bows. Just trying to finish them off. Mains of the infantry are going to go and try to hold the Nabatean swordsmen back. They are definitely taking some damage there. Archers are going to get ready to fire into that because, again, not a lot of men left. Another desert... Ooh, a Hellenic Desert Cataphracts. We do have a noble fighter still here. Double pikeman stack. But we do have ammo remaining. Again, he needs to take those towers. That's the only option that we have to win. So that does mean that we are going to have to push. With that being the case, what I've got left, African pikemen, archers, and a giant ballista crew. Athens has a thorax hoplite, thorax swordsman. He's got some mercenary Thracians, some Thraeus spears, some more mercenary Thracians. All of his mercenary Thracians under 100. full strength hoplite. Over here, the remnants of the armored desert hoplite and Nabatean swordsman. He's sending a Threo spear over there. Giant ballista crew just getting into the hoplite. Hold them off so he can focus on that Nabatean swordsman, break them, then finish off the last one. Yep. Basically, the African pikemen are going to be protecting the archers. Let's take a look over here. Yeah, see, he's not spreading out his attack. He's allowing himself to be caught into 2 choke points. He does try to break through the carrion. He needs to go down. He needs to go down into those other carrion and silence them, because you see 2 units of cavalry, Hellenic Desert Cavalry and a Nabatean Noble Cavalry. They ain't winning that. Yeah. He's just allowing himself to get shot. He needs to, if he's going to attack this conservatively, he needs to move up his archers so that they can counter the Cretans and just stop allowing him to just kill his chosen like this. Which is exactly what he's doing. Yep. Carrying Axeman actually losing the infantry fight pretty hard. Always going to happen. But yeah. He is just letting his men get shot, and that is going to be a huge detriment. He does allow his men to get into the Thraeos. Cavalry's moving around. Infantry's pushing hard. Basically, at this point, we're like, we need to make a beeline for the town center. Try to force Egypt away from Arverni at this point, because Arverni is not winning his fight. We'll see if that aggression allows us to win. But as long as Arverni has his archers, he does have a chance to make that reap. He needs to move his archers kind of like this here and just strike at these units, man. He's still letting himself get shot in the side. I haven't looked. In this fight I didn't look over here. God, Arverni is throwing hard. Carrions, of course, getting just slaughtered. Absolutely. Yeah, he should have gotten to these carrions initially and just silenced them and slaughtered them. Pike's staying out just because there's no threat, and I know it is slower, but it does make sure it remains protected. In case the worst occurs. With that wall now in place, it's time to pull those down. Obviously, he has pikemen. He's got nothing up here so far. The carrion are eventually going to win that fight, of course, because they were down to 30 initially. That's not that done. Just such a terrible assault on this side, man. That's why I hate attacking here. If you can't be aggressive in attack on multiple fronts, like if he did his 4 tortoises here, which probably would have been the best, probably could have shattered open the Egypt front and probably put a good positioning to put pressure along these 3 lines towards the enemy. To this point, we've got to Arverni is crumbling hard. Firing on the left. He is firing on the right, which is a bit of a sad state, but get another volley off. And they do start running. Already knocked down to 138. Already knocked down to 106. Basically, we just got to blast open their high-tier units at this point. He's moving the rest of his Athenian forces in so he can make a press on here, because they do have very limited infantry over here. I mean, Carians are pretty much done. Trying to silence that Nabatean noble cavalry, so he's got another unit. So 4 units of cavalry in total. Right on in. Silencing that Nabatean noble cavalry pretty well, and that's going to basically break in a second. Now with that full run through on the infantry, yeah, they're going to get into the ranged, and he's got nothing to protect him. He's brought his general back. Honestly, ranged are a lost cause, he needed to keep pressing. Trying to whittle down the noble fighters. No, we need the rest of the infantry to get up here so we can press. Does right now give us the advantage in numbers, but we'll see what happens when Averni just keeps dropping, and if that is going to continue to be the case. Carrying axemen, moving up, little bits of javelins. Yeah. Archer's completely gone. Thracians get in. Those guerrillas are going to be just slaughtered, but so are the Thracian warriors. Noble fighters getting in. Carians getting blasted. Down to 119. More and more Egypt are going to be able to get over here as Averni is chasing cavalry, which of course left the rest of his Gallics open and is going to lead them to die. So, not the best situation, as you might guess. But with this, replacing out the thorax, Thraeus getting in. Carian's almost fully dropped. Basically just trying to eliminate infantry at this point to get in. Already down almost 40. Down over 40. Just a bit of something cheeky to force the noble fighters into bad positioning. Noble fighters down to 85. And sadly now, Cretans are able to get onto the wall, as Averni is now finally making their way back inside. Yeah, general dead. And army losses are starting to hit here. Yeah, pikes are going to have to get aggressive, and we're just going to have to pull back from the cavalry. Again, Stop the... Look at this. He keeps sending his men back. And that is probably... Arvachi is probably what ended up dooming us in this fight, to be perfectly honest. Especially that last part there where they were chasing cavalry with their general instead of pressing. There was no way they were going to catch that cavalry. He needed to press and try, to be honest, to eliminate more Egypt and keep them held up longer. And they still have a Scorpion, by the way. Egypt did it again. He brought 3 artillery pieces, by the way. What was it? Kron did it in the first game. He did it in the second game where he just brings 3 artillery pieces, just ignoring the rules in the tournament, or in the GC, which is 1, 2, 4, because randoms don't pay attention to that. There is no max 7 rule, mainly because I already know they don't pay attention, so whatever. Yeah. Carry and drop in, obviously. Nabatean swordsman getting into the flank. They're pulling those archers away. Or pulling those pikemen away. Basically just going to get over here, put pressure on that Nabatean swordsman, the real last unit left. And just breaking them, continuing to try to break them here. Let's see how they're doing. Obviously the carrying general dies massively. Osworn did not need to do that. The full cavalry behind. He's just going to be held in place. Get the archers on the wall if you don't have the infantry to cover them. That way you can at least move up with your infantry. Sadly, he does not have his headhunt anymore. This is where he needed to save it for. To cut down this Hellenic desert cataphracts. Does he not have a second wind? Yeah. They're just going to get away pretty scot-free. He needs that second wind. But over here, again, still not going too terribly. Osworn, or the Noble Fighter's about to drop. Swordsman getting hit hard. Basically, we're going to just try to silence all this here. Obviously, those guys are done. So we got to break through the credence and kind of spread. Noble Fighters trying to fight to survive. Nabatean Swordsman dropping. They need to break there. There we go, they're broken. We'll charge into the Scorpions. While one pushes away into those Rhodians. So Rhodians dropping down. Force that engagement so we can get in and try to break that general. Give us more balance of power. Osworn general trying to get in. What he needs to do is press towards the town center and get to us. That's going to give us the best chance of victory with what remains. We are surrounding that pikeman, doing some real damage to him. but we need him to silence those mercenary Rhodians here. He should not have anything distract him from that. That should be his sole purpose, pretty much. Pikemen, of course, are now winning this fight. Sadly, the African Pike's doing what they can to try to silence. These Cretans doing really well. And of course, he decides, well, because these Rhodians, he needs to break through these Rhodians to get to us, but he decides he would like to strike the Thraeos instead. Kind of is our death nail there. There is nothing else we can do if we're not going to get any support, which we, of course, do not. And there goes that sworn general. There goes the rest of our forces. Close battle to the end. I'll say this. What did each team do poorly? What did each team do well? I think what the attackers did poorly is the Arverni assault. Horrible assault. Allowed himself to be choke pointed when he knew he was fighting a Thraeos army. And instead of adapting to obviously an army you're going to lose a choke point fight with, he decided to double down on it, lose his men, kind of fuck himself over, and fuck his team over. What was done well was mine and Propane's assault, pushing hard, breaking through the enemy, getting to the town center. If Arverni had a better, basically spread out his assault, Egypt probably would have crumbled even if Egypt held, they would have had a lot more men, and it would have allowed us to most likely win that fight, to be perfectly honest. What did the defenders do well? What did the defenders do poorly? Defenders did well in that inner keep fight. I think they did a very good job of delaying. Or not inner keep, but town center fight. But also, Egypt took advantage of Arverni with angles. Arverni chose not to adapt, and Egypt got to continue to just beat the shit out of him. Because, frankly, Arverni allowed him to. Arverni, might have battered wife syndrome. With that being the case here, what did the defenders do poorly? I think their initial assault was very poor. They allowed to be perfectly honest, the gate to be taken immediately, which allowed us to continue to funnel troops in. They allowed us to charge so much cavalry into that fight. Wasn't even funny. Also, on top of that, it allowed them to just get completely shattered. The Balearic, obviously, for whatever reason, attacking that wall was probably not the best. Or the Balearic only tower probably wasn't the best because it kind of fucked them over real hard. But let's take a look at how everyone did. Here, Noble Cav 118, Carthaginian Giant Ballista 169, Iberian Cavalry 111, Cretans 138, 217, 161, African Pike 148, Libyans 123, 158, 203, 289, and Scutari 220, 120 there. Propane playing Athens, 187 for the Hippeus Lancer, 136 for that Ballista there. Cretan Archers 131, 113, 120. Thracians 164, 152, 136. Great job with those mercenary Thracians. Thorax Hoplite 236 there. Thorax 223, 150. Thraeus 177. And 195. Chaza Thornton 142 on that Osworn General, still very healthy. Chosen's 211, 208, 129, 125. ADM, Noble Fighter General 279, about expected there. 153 for that Balearic. Just 3 Balearics not doing well enough to be worth their cost. Cut that down to 2. You can bring some more infantry, maybe some painted ones to help turn that tide. But Guerrilla Warriors 166, 141, great job there. Iberian Swords 111. Scutari 125, 142, 143. Kron here probably had the easiest time that he could have had, so he better have paid Arverni well. 122 on that Carrying Axe General. 222, 132, 231 on those mercenary credence, and 235 on those Rhodians. Carrying Axeman 148, 149, 151, 147, 100. And El Nino, max here, for Cavalry. 107 for that Nabatean Noble, 126 for that Heavy Desert, 100 for that Hellenic Desert Cataphracts, and 198 for that Nabatean Noble Cavalry. Great job overall with that cavalry. Nabatean Heavy Archers, 185, 207, 182. That one Armored Desert Hoplite, 139 there. Nabatean Swords, 143, 114, 101, and 113. You let me know what you think. I think, to be honest, Arverni kind of screwed over the attack, allowing himself to be shot. But you let me know. Such an easy army to counter when you fight one-on-one. Oh my god. I can't look at it. But, yeah. Let me know if you think if Arverni could have made a difference, or if you think Egypt was always intended to win, or how we would attack. Let me ask you that. But that's all for now. Bye for now.